What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Steven Thompson. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. Today, fully loaded show for you guys as the Pittsburgh Steelers enter the bye week. A Sunday without Pittsburgh Steelers football feels weird, but the optimism coming out of it is going to be huge. We got bold predictions for you as we leave the bye week. One change that we expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to make, or should see the Pittsburgh Steelers make in our eyes, and a move that could change it all for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they enter the second half of their season. It is a beautiful day in the Burgh. I am overly excited to hit this weekend, sit on my couch and watch some football, because as much as I dislike the bye week, and I enjoy going to Acrisure Stadium or wherever it is on Sundays, that one weekend where you get to sit on your couch all day Sunday, I mean, it's definitely worth it. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good. I think you really hit the nail on the head. Last week when Pitt was on the bye, that was. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to other people on the beat too, and I was like, that was some of the most fun weekend of football that I've watched in a while. Like, just, I was at home with my dad. We had like 3 different laptops going in addition to what's going on the TV. Like at noon, there were a million different games you wanted to watch. So, it's a little. It feels weird when you like wake up in the morning and you're like thinking about, okay, so the Steelers play today. What do I need to do? And, oh no, I can watch every game today. I can do the full, when who's the guy who does Red Zone? The however many hours.
Even know.
7 hours. Scott.
7 hours.
It was 7 hours of commercial-free football. You get to enjoy that in its entirety. So
yeah,
it's nice.
It is beautiful. That's Jillian already knows, like Sundays where there are no Pittsburgh Steelers football, whether they play Thursday night, Monday, whatever, we're getting a large pizza. We're getting wings. I'm eating like crap all day. I'm enjoying. I might shower, might not. Who knows? There's no point in it. And chances are, the only conversation we have throughout the day, the only ones are, man, I lost that bet. Or, hey, there it is. We needed that one. And she's got no idea what's going on, but she knows that I'm having a blast. So it's a great time. I am very excited for it. Before we do that, before we enjoy our weekend of football, we got to bring as much Pittsburgh Steelers content to the people as possible as we all try to navigate through a weekend without the black and gold. We should be optimistic about the future. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-2, 2-0 in the AFC North, riding atop the division right now as they enter the break and then coming back from it. Kenny Pickett got a little bit of a spark there at the end of the Baltimore Ravens game. I talked to Calvin Austin. He said that it's not something that they're going to build on. It's just the epitome of what it all is. It's just, hey, look, we could put it together. We just did that. That's cool. Let's do that again, and let's continue to get that momentum going. Deontay Johnson comes back after the bye week, which is huge. And at this point, the Steelers are getting healthy at the right time. Let's dive into some bold predictions. The Pittsburgh Steelers come back from the bye week. Again, 3-2, first place in the AFC North. They take on the LA Rams in week 7. Your bold prediction for the Pittsburgh Steelers post-bye week.
Well, this one, a little bolder when I say it out loud than when I wrote it down in my notes, but I think the Steelers win their first 4 games coming off the bye for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think LA, so I'll give you the 4 games. It starts with LA, then it is a road trip to LA, Jacksonville at home, Tennessee at home, Green Bay at home.
Okay.
I think these are all teams that are at least on the Steelers level. If not, the Steelers are better than. If not, the Steelers are better than them. There's no one on that schedule that is, I think, demonstrably better than this team. You add in that you get 3 games at home, you get a week of rest going into the toughest one, which I think is LA right now. I think that all kind of the combination of the timing and I think the momentum that the Steelers kind of built towards the end of that Ravens game it will lend itself to a really hot start to that second half after the bye week. So I'm optimistic. Who knows how the rest of the season will shake out, but I think that they are at least going to get off on their right foot, a really, really good right foot as they start the second half and just rip off some good wins. Because I also think they're going to be led by the defense. Obviously, I'm not sure the offense is going to take huge steps forward, but I think you look at those teams, and I'm pretty confident that the Steelers should be able to throttle them on offense at least, or defense.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think LA is a big one because, just like you said, toughest opponent, but at the same time, Pittsburgh Steelers fans travel well. They seem to travel to LA the best. Like if you're playing LA, you could expect a jam-packed Pittsburgh Steelers fan base in that stadium, which I think is definitely a boost. On top of that, the Rams have a little bit cooled off in the last couple of weeks, which I think is huge for a team that we were like, "Oh, well they kept up with the 49ers. They got to be that good." Cooling off at the right time. Pittsburgh Steelers heating up at the right time. I also think, just like you said, you're coming off the break there, right at the toughest point of that 4-game stretch. That's where you're going to take advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where Kenny's going to be his hottest. Your running game's going to be their best. Your offensive line's going to be their healthiest. You're going to get, Deontay back, possibly Pat Freiermuth back, possibly Anthony McFarland back. That's a good way to go about it. Jacksonville doesn't scare me right now. Tennessee doesn't scare me at all. And that's a Thursday night game, so that's right. Always in the Pittsburgh Steelers' favor. And then Green Bay doesn't scare me, even a little bit. Yeah, like just to have rough offensive lines and rough quarterback situations. J.J. Watt went on the Pat McAfee show the other day. He was like, what would the Steelers' record be if T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith weren't out there? Maybe they're 0-4, but who cares? Because T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith are out there. And against these teams, that could get dangerous real fast. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I think it all kind of adds up to a really good formula for the Steelers, and I think it's something that we could look back at the end of the year and be like, wow, this was kind of a turning point for them, and this is when they kind of started to really live up to the expectations that we had for them in the preseason, and when they started to really turn things around. And yeah, I think the health part is going to be huge too. Just being like knowing you're going to have Deontay Johnson and maybe Anthony McFarland was just the key. Maybe missing him. He was the one who they needed him to unlock the potential. Maybe that was the squeaky wheel that needed the grease. So I'm really excited to see how they come out of this break, and I think there's a huge opportunity for them to announce themselves to the league. Quite honestly.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And Anthony McFarland, man, that's just think about if the offense could actually click and Anthony McFarland could put them in good field position off of kick returns. Like, that's ginormous. You already have Calvin Austin, who I don't understand why Gunner is back there at all, but I hope Deontay Johnson's return means that they're not nervous to put Calvin out there and maybe wear and tear. Maybe that's what they were thinking. Who cares? Put Calvin out there all the time. And then Anthony McFarland is a kicker. I like it. I like it a lot better than having Gunner back there for both. Desmond King did almost nothing. So I do. In the AFC North, they are already 2-0. Big wins over Cleveland, big win over Baltimore. And I think that Baltimore one, Cleveland doesn't really scare me that much. Baltimore is always a challenge, and you never know how that's going to turn out. Now, you go 4-0. 3 easy opponents in a row. I guess Jacksonville's not super easy. None of these teams are super easy, but still, you got 3 winnable games. Green Bay, Tennessee, Jacksonville. If you win against LA, you are now 4-0. What would that be? That would be 7-2 heading into this.
Yeah.
Cleveland, you're going to Cleveland. You've already won over them. Who knows if Deshaun Watson's ever going to play football again? This guy doesn't even want to play right now. So at that point, you got to expect maybe he's not even out there. Maybe it's DTR who did not reach the level of expectation that the preseason kind of gave him the hype around. I think you win in Cleveland, and then I think you go the week after that, go to Cincinnati. You face them for the first time. Joe Burrow is still not 100%. I don't know if he's going to be 100% at all this season. I do think Cincinnati's going to get the ball rolling, but you want that game early. You know what I mean? Like, you want the at Cincinnati game to be earlier in the season. That way, at the end of the season, when things are heating up, when competition's getting close, when the AFC North race is close and the playoff race is close, you have Cincinnati at home. I think if you could squeak that one out, that's going to be the toughest one in my head, is Cincinnati, November 26th after Cleveland, go back-to-back home or away games. Then you host Cincinnati on December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. Heinz Field, our Acrisure Stadium, is going to be wild. That's going to be a wild game. Fully anticipate that one's a good one. And then you finish the season in Baltimore. That one doesn't make me nervous because unless the Pittsburgh Steelers have the opportunity to sit their starters, that's when they're going to be playing their best football. And that is when, if this team is on the rise, they're going to rise continually throughout the season. By week 18, they're going to be a playoff team. And I know that there's holes and I know that there's issues, but to end the season with 2 AFC North games out of your last 3 games, I mean, I think that's as good as it gets for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that, Baltimore is a challenge, but I don't think the Steelers have been phased by a trip to Baltimore
No.
really at all, like in a while. So I think that toughest one is, like you said, that trip to Cincinnati in November. And look, the Steelers, even at their worst, have been able to hang with the Bengals over the past couple of years. Like there's no question in my mind that they will be able to stand up to that environment, stand up to that game, even if Cincinnati starts to look more like the team that we thought they would be. More of a Super Bowl contender than they've looked through the first 2 weeks. They looked pretty good last week. I guess they beat up on a pretty bad team. But I think even if the Bengals start to play more like who we thought they would be, the Steelers aren't going to be phased by that, and they're going to be a good matchup for that challenge too.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that it sits there. Like, if you could squeak by Cleveland, if you could squeak by Cincy, which will not be easy games. Like, going to Baltimore, that's almost like a little bit of added juice. Almost like it's almost like you want that to happen. Like, host Baltimore early, get that win. Think that they're like looking for a revenge game. You know what I mean? Week 18, let them believe that Pittsburgh's coming to town. We got to win this one. And then Mike Tomlin's like, nah, bro, that ain't happening. That's not how we run these things. The Steelers are all fired up. I just feel like that's prime time to go away to Baltimore. If it was Cincinnati, if it was Cleveland, I think differently. To Baltimore, like, that just adds too much juice for me. And yeah, like I said, the other two, they'll be tough, but they'll be good. I mean, we think about that one. Think about this. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if our bold predictions are true, if they happen, they start 6-0 coming out of the bye. So at that point, you're 11-2. You go to Indianapolis, which Anthony Richardson and that team, that's no joke. That team's no joke, definitely. But a winnable game. Even if you lose that one, okay? You are now 11-3. You host Cincinnati. In my bold prediction, that's a win. 12-3. Then you go to Seattle. Even if you lose that one, which I think that's a very winnable game, but even if you lose that one, you're 11-4, and then you beat Baltimore, you are 12-4. That's a great season for a team that people are like, oh my gosh, this team's, and us too. Like, there's so many holes, there's so many problems. It is very realistic for the Pittsburgh Steelers to finish 12-4 this season. That would be wild, especially at this point. Like, it's 3-2. It's so hard to imagine, like, oh, this has been super successful. Like, no, they got through like a very tough part of their schedule and they came out 3-2. That's not bad. That's definitely not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And with one of those losses being to the far and above best team in the NFL. Like, the 49ers have been slaughtering people. Like, that is not even like, the Steelers are I think they put up more. No, the Cowboys put up 10 points, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what did the Steelers put up?
It was like 42.
Yeah, they put up a touchdown. Yeah, they put up a touchdown. They put up 6 against Houston. That was the one. Yeah. That was the one. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so like, this is, I think following the bye week could have a completely different image of this team. As like, I honestly, if they get past that Rams game, that's when my expectations are really going to start to skyrocket. That's when I'm going to really look at this team as much more legit, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that the potential, and like, if you go out and you look good against LA, I mean, this is a new season. Starts here, and things can happen. I'm very excited. On top of that, this team's not perfect. They haven't been playing their best ball. Changes could be made. Changes should be made. And obviously, we're not Mike Tomlin or Omar Khan, but we know what the Pittsburgh Steelers should be doing right now when they come out of the bye week and have those couple extra days of practice. We got one change that we want to see post-bye week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to let you start with this one. What is the one move, one change you want to see this team make when they return and head to LA?
I want to see Jaylen Warren, and I want to see a lot of him. I want to see.
I
I
it.
want to see legitimately not just starting, not just part of the offense. I want to see 60 or more percent of the touches, like not just carries but catches. This team has really struggled to block people, and there is one running back on this roster that is built to be his own blocker, make people miss, finish runs with speed, and break open in the open field, and that's Jaylen Warren. There is no one on this roster better suited to survive subpar.
Goes out, and he said straight up, he was like, if the Pittsburgh Steelers, if we're going to keep winning, it's got to be through the ground game. Like it's going to be on Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren's shoulders. He couldn't stop talking about how much Jaylen has progressed since he got here and how much growth he has seen in him. And I just think that that's the thing. Like Jaylen at the beginning of the year was dynamic and versatile and could do everything, and a guy that was great to watch. Jaylen at this point in the season is a dude who on almost every other team is competing, if not starting, for that team. No matter who you put back there. Like outside of like Bijan Robinson, I don't think that there is a running back in the NFL. I mean, and I'm gonna have to really sit down and think about that. But I think that most running backs, Jaylen would at least compete for the job and have an opportunity and definitely contribute on every single team in the NFL. Najee's a dude who, he's had his moments. I don't think Najee's having a bad season by any means. I just think that I agree. Like if you flip them, if it is a Jaylen Warren with Najee Harris, I think it works out a lot better, especially for a team that definitely needs to jump on their running game just a tad bit more. What are you looking split like 60-40? What's like a good amount of carries for Jaylen Warren in a football game?
I feel like it's got to be double-digit carries, and then closer to like even if you fall short of that, it's got to be like 15 touches at least.
Yeah.
Like it's
with Najee like 10.
Najee like 10 total or something like that. Use him like goal line, short yardage. I feel like that'll work too. But like Jaylen's got to be your go-to guy. I think he and George have been really the two explosive play guys. Like it's probably your two best offensive players like so far this year. Like in my opinion, I think if you look up I think Najee's having a marginally better like statistical season, but I think that has a lot to do with opportunities too. And I think Jaylen has a much better chance of being like an impact player in both the passing game and the running game in a way that Najee is not. So I just think that alone should earn him some more consideration. I think he's just able to make things happen. Like he has this, I hate the word X factor sometimes, or not X factor, but like the it factor, but like, because it's kind of just vague and doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But I think Jaylen has a little bit of that where he is just innately able to make plays that other guys are not able to, and he's able to find room where other guys are not able to. And just, I think for, like I said, an offense that is struggling and an offensive line that isn't whole, but also like just might not be very good again. Like they really need him to step up.
Yeah, I agree. You want to hear something crazy? As much as the Pittsburgh Steelers have relied on their running game, they have yet to score a touchdown on the ground. I have not realized that up until this point. Neither Jaylen or Najee have scored a rushing touchdown this season. That's
kind of crazy.
Wild to think about. But you're right. Like Najee's taken the 63 carries this season to Jaylen's 34, and Jaylen's only averaging 3.6 yards a carry compared to Najee's 3.9. But I think that's a lot of it is like, just like you said, like you give Jaylen the ball 15 times in a game, chances are 7 of those runs are like 15-yard bursts,
Yeah.
like at least minimum, and chances are he could explode a 50-yard run. And the more you add on to that, the more you're just like, okay, let's feed this guy because good things will happen, compared to Najee, who like, yeah, you're going to get this, but Najee's never breaking a 60-yard run. It's just
Yeah.
not like, that's just not going to happen. He doesn't have that in him. And if you continue to hammer Najee the way that you're hammering him, you know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? You know what the ceiling is, and the ceiling's great, and you want the ceiling. You roll with Jaylen a little bit more, you could build off of those spark plays. You could find those random touchdowns that change games sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, I think you make a good point about the ceiling. Like the floors, the floors for either of these guys feel very similar. Excuse me again, jeez. The ceilings seem, sorry, that's Permani's sandwich coming back up that I had for lunch.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a great lunch right there.
It was fantastic. But the floors feel very similar. The ceilings feel vastly different for both of these guys, and I think that Jaylen is just able to has the potential to hit a higher ceiling than Najee does.
Yeah, I agree. It's a perfect way to put it. What's up, guys? I have super exciting news to share with you. We have merchandise, from t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and nutties, and plenty of designs, from Pickens to Pickett, Muth, Bleed Black and Gold, and of course, all of your All Steelers talk gear, all available at blackandgoldapparel.myspreadshop.com or on the store tab at our YouTube page. We cannot thank you guys enough. We would not be here without each and every one of you, and it feels awesome to be able to represent the AST brand and to spread that representation out to all of Steelers Nation. We know that you guys and us, we are one, and this has been one hell of a ride. Again, we cannot thank you guys enough. Check out everything at blackandgoldapparel.myspreadshop.com or on the YouTube page, or the store tab, on our YouTube page, to get all your AST gear and whatever t-shirts, sweatshirts, shorts, nutties, coffee mugs that you're thinking. Again, thank you guys. My one change that I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to make coming out of the bye week, and it stinks to do this because sometimes you have to talk about guys that you just like. I think Mason Cole is one of maybe the best dude in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. Like, I think he's a perfect leader. I think for a center, you have to address the media way more than any offensive lineman. I think he does that so well. He's real open with us. He's just a good dude. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good dude that you could walk in there and you could bullshit about Michigan football because it's where he went to school. And he's good vibes at all times. I think coming out of the break, if James Daniels is healthy, or when James Daniels is healthy, I really think that you got to put James Daniels at center. He played there in Chicago. He played a little bit there at Iowa. You start Nate Herbig at guard. You put Mason Cole on the bench. He's clearly your worst offensive lineman. He's clearly struggled this season. James Daniels is position flexible. Nate Herbig played well the last 2 games. I just don't know how I think that you're avoiding it just because you like Mason Cole, and I don't disagree with that. But if you're going to make a business decision and make your offensive line as good as it could be, I think you possibly clog up a major hole by replacing Mason Cole with James Daniels when he is healthy.
Yeah, I think you're spot on in saying that Mason has really struggled this year. Good guy, but you can't ignore what he's done on the field. Am I making it up that Nick Herbig has center experience, right? Like, he's snapped.
Yeah, he does too. Nate's got center experience as well, but not like as much. Like, James played it. Like, that was his position. I want to say his rookie season, maybe his sophomore season too, but he was like a full-time center for a little while in Chicago. He played both guard positions in Chicago too. They really moved him around everywhere. So he's capable of going to different spots. And I just think that it just makes so much sense, as an opposed to like Nate going in there as a guy that, he's got some experience, but like James has like real tangible experience.
Yeah, that makes it. Cause I was going to say, like, it might, you could think about keeping James at his natural position and then, Nick, maybe, if you're trying to slide a guy in, if you're thinking about continuity, that might help a little bit. But yeah, if James has that experience, if you think this is where, kind of, if you think this is kind of the best like allocation of resources, like you could put Nick at center, but if you can keep him
Nate.
comfortable at a guards or Nate, excuse me, jeez.
I got it like 4 times.
They couldn't have named one like Ben or something like that. Wouldn't have.
No, it's like TJ, JJ, and Derek, who's actually supposed to be DJ. Like,
yeah,
my kids are just gonna be named like Leaf and Stick. Because I guess that's just what you do here. This Leaf and Stick.
Okay, good to know. I'm glad you have that figured out. We'll bring Jilly on the next pod and we'll see what she thinks about that. But
good. We could convince her that it should be Leaf, Stick, whatever you want to go with. I don't care. But LeBron needs to be the middle name, 100%. LeBron James, actually. I've been pushing since that was like first date material. Hey, look, when we have kids, are you okay if I pick the middle name? I'll give you the first name. Yeah, that's totally fine. Awesome. I'm picking LeBron James. Nah, it's not okay anymore. Why? It was cool 10 seconds ago.
She's like, damn, I didn't even think about that. She was,
I think I jumped the gun with it. I think I got too excited, and as she was like saying yes, I was like, awesome, it's going to be LeBron James. And she was like, nah, not anymore, it's not. I'm still fighting for that one hard.
Yeah. But, anyways, football. But there's, I don't mind that at all. And I think, James certainly seems capable of that. Seems like a smart enough dude to handle that position change. He's clearly done that at this level. So this is the offensive line clearly needs some upgrades, and this is a good one that you can make in-house pretty easily, it seems like.
Yeah, I think that it like long term it solves some issues too. Like you get to see what you got in Nate Herbig. If he's starter capable, if he's a dude that you could build off of, awesome. He's only 25 years old. You could keep him for as long as you want to keep him for. I think Chooks is gone after the season. He's not a guy that his just contract's too expensive. Next year, there's a little bit of an out there. I think you take it. And if you're in the NFL draft or if you're in free agency, that way you only have to change one spot. You know what I mean? All you got to do is change your right tackle. You don't have to change your center and your tackle. That's a lot going on. And then eventually you're going to have to change Isaac Seumalo because he's getting up there in age. I just feel like if you do it now in the offseason, all you have to do is replace Chooks. It makes things so much smoother. It helps with the continuity. Do I think it'll happen? No. But, it should. Like if I was making the decisions, that would be the clear as day one because I just think that it's like it's not like Joey Porter Jr. It's not like a running back. You know what I mean? You could still play these guys a bunch of snaps and not even notice. You can't take your center out of the game. You got a center. That's your center. If your center gets hurt, you put a new center in. But besides that, Mason Cole plays every single snap. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right. Last thing I want to talk about here. Sticking with the changes, sticking with the moves that the Pittsburgh Steelers should make. They head into the bye week, or this is technically now the bye week. Players have gone home. Coaches have gone home. Everybody's chilling. The best possible move. Doesn't have to be a move that you think the Pittsburgh Steelers would make. I'm just talking if you were Omar Khan, what would you do over the next 4 or 5 days to say we have one move. We have one decision we can make. We get anything we want. We could go do it. We're going to make this a Super Bowl team. And obviously it's not go get Patrick Mahomes. It's got to be more realistic than that. What's the one move that you would make if possible for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yes, if I'm Omar Khan and I'm, I got my 3 wishes from the genie, I'm using at least one of them to, and look, it maybe couldn't happen exactly during the bye week, but you could start figuring it out during the bye week.
Oh yeah.
Go get me Aaron Donald, man. Like, I don't know. If you're this Rams team, you think about how long can you kind of hold on to this kind of pseudo like playoff contender at a really like with a bunch of old dudes and expiring contracts. Like, you maybe start to think about the future a little bit. You maybe start to think about how you can start to move on and start this rebuild again. Figure out how you get some draft picks, and he's the crown jewel of that team. And if you're the Steelers, you'd probably be pretty willing to give up a haul for someone who could really lock down the interior of that defensive line and make you just not so porous against the run. I think that's been one of the most glaring issues of this defense so far. It's had a trickle down effect. It's affected a lot of the other things that they do on defense. So no one's running on Aaron Donald, T.J. Watt, and Alex Highsmith, and then eventually
No.
Cam Hayward when he comes back. Like no one. It doesn't even matter who your linebackers are. No one is running on that team. So I think, if we're really getting wild, we're really getting crazy, we're getting everything we want. I feel like Aaron Donald would be almost a perfect fit.
So Aaron Donald, it would be great if you could get him for LA. That would be phenomenal. Yeah. You could just toss him on the plane on the way back. Keep him for another week. If you get him before you have to play the Rams, that would be even better. I agree. Yeah. I think there's no better defensive line than somehow squeezing Cam Hayward, Aaron Donald, and Larry Ogunjobi out there next to T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. I think it affects so much because personally, I think the run game, I think the biggest issue is the inside linebackers, but I don't think you could fix the inside linebackers. Like I just don't think. I think there's like one really, really, really good inside linebacker in the NFL. I think the rest of them are just like, let's hope something good happens on this play. And if you don't have Fred Warner, you don't really have anybody. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. That's the best way to go about it, is to fix the defensive line, make it just as powerful and as dangerous as possible. There's no better option than Aaron Donald. I love that one. What are you giving up for Aaron Donald? What's like you'd
probably have to give up like 2 firsts, right? And then keep moving down it'd be what if I'm the Rams, I'm asking for like 4 or 5 draft picks, right? Like I'm asking
2 firsts, a third, a second, maybe if you could get it.
Yeah. And then I don't know, would you have to give up like Nick or like one of the like
Montravius Adams, maybe? Sending Montravius Adams over there. Who else is there?
So probably have to make salaries.
Isaiah Loudermilk.
Yeah. You could, you throw in basically any player. The draft picks is maybe something you would get hung up on, but it's Aaron Donald, man. Like, give them what they want. Like,
dude, that's what I'm saying. If you could, if Aaron Donald could promise you 3 years, if he could say, "Hey, look I'll stick it out 3 years. I'll retire at 35." They'll be like, "Okay, sounds good, man. Like, this is cool. Let's make it happen. We'll give you the next 3 first-round picks, and then as sound as he retires, we'll get a first-round pick. That's no big deal. That's totally fine."
If you make it happen this week, just tell the Rams like, "Hey, we'll let him, learn the playbook this week when we play you guys," and then
put him right in the middle. He's starting a nose tackle. He's staring at Matthew Stafford in the eyes. Play 1, 100%, 100%. All right, if you could make a move, this is my move. Go fix Pittsburgh Steelers. I like Aaron Donald. That's hard to top. Mine is go get a corner. I don't care who it is. I don't care what one it is. I think there's a couple of them that are available. Go get a damn corner. There's no need to hide this and make a fuss about it anymore. Even I like Levi Wallace. I like Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson's going to be here for another year. Levi Wallace is probably going to be gone after the season. Joey Porter Jr. is your future. You want to keep fighting that as long as you could possibly fight that. I get it. Go get a corner. Go get a Patrick Surtain. Go get I saw Jalen Johnson from the Bears tossed out there the other day. I think that's a good move too. You want somebody who's young, who's developing, who can grow alongside Joey Porter Jr., and I think it fixes so much, not just for right now, because right now that is clearly your biggest hole on defense is your cornerback group. And I honestly think there's a little bit more there than with the development of Joey Porter Jr. than before, but still a hole. On top of that, you want somebody to grow with Joey Porter Jr. because think about a year from now. Think about 2 years from now. You go into next season, if Levi Wallace is no longer here, if he leaves in free agency, then you have Joey Porter Jr., whoever else you brought in, and then Patrick Peterson could be your third guy or your slot or however you want to use him. Just Patrick Peterson could be that guy. Corey Trice hopefully comes back. Hopefully he's healthy, but there's no way he is stepping on the field in significant moments, maybe at all on defense as like a de facto rookie. It's just not going to happen. Your 7th round pick, you weren't stepping on the field this season. You're not going to step on the field next season just because you didn't play. Like it's not realistic. But to have that gap year with those two, and then Corey develops, and maybe Corey develops into a starter capable guy or a really strong 3 guy, then you have 3 corners that are all deadly, and 2 of them are on rookie contracts. I just think that works out so well. And the things you could do around that, I mean, if you have a strong cornerback group, think about how much more deadly T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith become if guys can't go throw the football. Like that's an unstoppable defense, and you're just missing half of it. Go get half. I don't care who it is. Patrick Surtain would be my guy, but go get a corner.
Yeah. Patrick Surtain would be the dream, and it's
Yes.
not even that unrealistic. Like mine is
No.
real shot in the dark. But yours is definitely obtainable. That is not, completely out of the realm of possibility at all. And adding a player like Patrick Surtain, man, that would that'd be like the only hole in your defense if you go get Patrick Surtain is the inside linebackers, and even then,
Yes.
I don't feel like it's that
Not that big of a deal.
And it's not as big a weakness as it's been in the past either. When you've had really good defense, like Patrick Surtain would unlock such another level for this defense that it'd be pretty unreal. Like it would really change so much, and like you said, it would, like T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith getting to rush when the quarterback's holding on the ball for 4 seconds or something. Like that's just unfair.
That's what I'm saying. Like you just can't. Like you could work around the inside linebackers because like chances are you're not going to go get a superstar. You're not going to be able to find one. You hold on to him if you do have one. You already have some safeties. You already have some defensive linemen. Dude, Patrick Surtain might be on the trading block. The Denver Broncos stink. If they lose tonight, if they get smoked, and by the time this is out, they probably will get smoked because we're recording on Thursday afternoon. It comes out Friday morning. They're playing the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night. The spread's 10.5. I'm taking the spread. Like, if the Broncos go into this weekend after getting obliterated, why are you not making a phone call? You know what I mean? Why are you not just like, hey, look at what's he gonna? Is he gonna change your football team for the better? No, he's not. Let's start making a deal here. I'm giving up a first and a second, maybe a first, a second, and a third. I'm feeling real good about that. Give me a second and a third next year, first this year. Let's just move on and we'll just rebuild from scratch. Let this be Sean Payton's team. And for a fact he would want it to be Sean Payton's team. And Patrick Surtain wasn't his draft pick, so he's not part of Sean Payton's team. Go get Patrick Surtain.
Yeah. They'll counter with, okay, you don't have to give up any draft picks, but you got to take Russ off our hands too. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. No. Yeah, we'll take them. We'll cut them. I don't think the Steelers can handle that cap space, but they'll figure it out. Like, you have two backup quarterbacks worth like $40 million. Go, and not really, they're like 6, but still, go get rid of that. I don't care how you do it. Just pull it off.
Like, yeah, and I think like 3 draft picks in 1 year might be a lot, but I spread them out over 2 years, and I don't really care what you take. Like, just give me Patrick Surtain. Yeah, Patrick
Surtain.
Give me the best secondary in the NFL. Let's.
That's what I'm saying. You could use your second round pick this year to go draft whoever you need in whatever position you need, and then use a first next year to go get whatever you need then. Like, you have so many developing young guys. Go get Patrick Surtain. Just go get Patrick Surtain. I think it's the move. I think it's the best possible outcome for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think if they return from the bye and they have a cornerback group like that, scary. Could be over. All right. With that, we're sending you guys into the bye week. I hope everybody enjoys a Pittsburgh Steelers free weekend, which means a couple of good things here. For one, stress-free. Who cares? No win, no loss. This is a good time. No heart attacks at halftime. Everything's good. You could bet freely because nobody cares if you're not betting. You never want to bet against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but sometimes it's not the smartest choice to bet for them. All about that life. And anybody who's been contemplating what's going to happen with Jaylen Warren, do I start Jaylen Warren? Do I start George Pickens? Blah, 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 blah. You don't have to worry about this. Stress-free weekend. I'm all about it. I hope everybody enjoys it. We're heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, check out all of our work at allsteelers.com and our pick coverage at InsideThePanthers.com. We will be back on Monday. Enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.